Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something I think many of us have thought about, maybe even done, this idea of disappearing and transforming yourself.
Hmm.
But, we're not talking about just escaping problems.
Right. Not escapism in that sense.
No, think of it more like a deliberate strategy for some serious growth, maybe finding a path to healing or just getting some real clarity.
It really touches on something fundamental, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That human urge to kind of reset, step outside the routine, maybe even, reinvent things a bit.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we've pulled together some really interesting viewpoints, all kind of circling this core idea, quiet transformation.
Yeah. Understanding that the biggest shifts aren't always loud. Sometimes they happen in the stillness.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to explore the power and the practical side of intentionally stepping back, getting away from all the noise.
Right.
We want to figure out how pulling back like that can actually lay the groundwork for, well, rebuilding and coming back stronger, more focused for whatever's next for you.
Okay, so let's get into it. What is it about walking away quietly? Why is that so powerful?
Whoa, yeah.
Especially when, society seems to push being loud, constantly proving yourself. There's this underestimated strength in pulling back silently.
It's such a contrast, isn't it? We're sort of trained to always be validating ourselves out loud, externally.
Hmm.
But if you think about it, real change, the deep stuff, it often starts when nobody's watching. It's not really a performance, it's internal.
Exactly. Like you mentioned, think about nature. A seed.
Hmm.
It doesn't shout about germinating.
Right.
It just quietly gets to work underground, building strength before anything even shows. That quiet foundation. That's what stepping back helps create. You nurture the roots without all the distractions.
And it's definitely not passive. Walking away quietly, it's not giving up or being weak.
No, not at all.
It feels like a very deliberate move. Reclaiming your peace, setting, real boundaries. It's strategic almost, like moving a piece back in chess to set up something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the ocean pulling back before a big wave.
Yeah.
Or even during a storm. It seems like it's retreating, but really it's gathering energy.
That's a great image.
And stepping back lets you do that same thing. Gather your energy. You consciously shift your focus from being seen to actually seeing yourself, your own thoughts, what you really need.
And that shift, it's so crucial for self-awareness, right? When you pull away from the constant demands, the noise, you create this space to actually hear yourself think without everyone else's opinions clouding things up.
And what's really interesting, I think, is the healing that can start when you just stop needing to justify yourself all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Think about how much energy goes into explaining, defending, performing for others.
There's so much energy.
Stopping that.
Yeah.
It's incredibly freeing. It lets you rebuild from somewhere more, well, truthful, authentic.
Okay, but when you think about doing that, stepping back quietly, there's usually this big hurdle, right?
The big one.
What will people think? It's almost automatic, that worry.
It really shows how deep that need for social validation runs, doesn't it?
It does.
But, I mean, do we really owe everyone an explanation for looking after ourselves, prioritizing our peace? We get so caught up managing expectations.
It's so true. And maybe, just maybe, the people you're worried about explaining things to, maybe they're not even paying that much attention.
Or maybe their opinion doesn't actually matter that much in the long run.
Right. Sometimes growth just means you have to make moves without waiting for applause, and that has to be okay.
Yeah, think about Steve Jobs when he got pushed out of Apple.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't go on a big public rant or anything. He just quietly poured his energy into NXT, into Pixar.
Right, that quiet focus.
Exactly. Periods of really focused, pretty silent work. And that didn't just lead to amazing things. It eventually paved the way for him to go back to Apple and, well, we know what happened then.
It's a great example of power and withdrawal.
It totally reframes silence, doesn't it? It's not weakness. It's actually a strong boundary. Protecting your energy, your focus, while you do that inner work.
So if you feel that pull, that need to step back from old connections, maybe old habits, even an old version of yourself, remember, you don't always need to broadcast it or justify it to everyone. Just move intentionally. Trust that feeling. The people who matter will probably get it, or at least respect your need for space.
Yeah, even without a whole presentation about it.
Okay, so you've stepped back, created some space. The next big piece is the rebuilding, and doing that in private seems key.
Definitely. Think about intentionally unplugging from the online world for a bit.
Logging out, turning off notifications.
Yeah, just consciously choosing quiet moments, instead of that constant digital buzz.
It's amazing how much that digital noise fragments our thinking, isn't it? I heard this story. Someone deleted their social media apps for like a month, and they suddenly realized, oh, wow, I can hear my own thoughts again, uninterrupted.
Exactly, that reclaiming of your own mental space. It's incredibly fertile ground for growth, for self-discovery.
It really shows how addictive that feeling of being seen online can be.
It really can.
But the kind of deep, really transformative growth we're talking about, it usually needs that time away from the audience, that private incubation period.
Think about J.K. Rowling,
Yeah.
right? Writing the first Harry Potter books.
Yeah, tough times for her then.
Exactly. Facing major challenges, pretty much unknown. That whole world didn't come from a place of public attention. It's started quietly, in cafes, just her dedication to the story.
So if you feel that urge to just disappear for a bit,
Hmm?
maybe to journal or really focus on studying something or just prioritize sleep, connect with your breath, embrace that need for privacy. Don't feel like you have to document it all for likes, that quiet, focused space. That's where the real work happens.
And a really crucial part of this private rebuilding is, well, letting go. Letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore.
Yeah.
That can be tough.
Yeah, transformation isn't just about adding new things. It's also about shedding the old stuff, patterns, beliefs, even parts of your identity that are just outdated.
That's such a key point. And sometimes letting go of an old habit or an old way of thinking, it can feel a bit like grief, can't it?
It really can. Like you're mourning a past self, even if that self wasn't really helping you anymore, there's comfort in the familiar.
But hanging on to an identity that just doesn't fit who you're becoming, it holds you back. It's like trying to fit into old clothes that are way too small now.
Yeah, exactly.
So that quiet process of releasing things without making a big announcement.
That's often where the deepest evolution starts.
And it doesn't have to be this huge, dramatic overhaul announced to the world.
Well,
Often the changes that stick, the really significant ones, they happen quietly, consistently behind the scenes.
yeah.
You let the results do the talking later.
And that applies so well to learning anything, really. Like if a certain way of studying isn't working for you anymore,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to just quietly drop it and try something new. That willingness to let go of what's familiar, even if it used to work, is vital for growth. Okay, let's talk about something that can feel tricky, but seems really important in this quiet phase. Embracing the discomfort.
Ah, yes. The discomfort of stillness.
Because when you create that quiet space, when you start letting go of the old stuff, things can come up that aren't exactly comfortable.
Right. The silence can feel really loud sometimes. Being alone with just your thoughts,
Yeah.
it can get messy.
And I think that's where people often bail, right? They hit that discomfort and immediately look for a distraction.
Exactly. Seek noise, external validation, anything to avoid feeling whatever it is that's coming up.
But leaning into it, pushing through that awkwardness, that seems to be where the breakthroughs happen.
It really is. Being alone with yourself without the usual buffers, it forces you to look at what needs looking at.
It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? That uncomfortable feeling, that tension in the quiet.
Yeah.
It can actually be the doorway to something better.
Yeah, like on the other side of that discomfort, you often find more clarity, maybe some healing, a stronger sense of your own direction.
It makes me think of someone like David Goggins. All that intense solitary training.
Oh, yeah. His mental toughness wasn't built in front of a crowd.
No, it was forged out there alone, pushing past limits when nobody was watching. That direct confrontation with discomfort in isolation was key for him.
It's a powerful idea for anyone facing a challenge. Even something like, say, learning a language.
How so?
Well, if speaking English feels intimidating, maybe start by creating those private moments to just practice. Talk to yourself, record yourself, listen back.
Okay, yeah. It might feel weird at first.
It probably will.
Right.
But that kind of focused, low-stakes practice, embracing that initial discomfort, that's what builds real confidence and fluency over time.
So when you actually engage with that discomfort, do the internal work quietly, without needing instant feedback. Something changes.
Something definitely changes. You don't just like reappear. You arrive differently. There's a shift people notice.
Yeah, it's like seeing someone after a while and there's just this undeniable change. A quiet strength maybe, or a new clarity that speaks for itself.
Exactly. That's the impact of that quiet growth period.
When your focus isn't on broadcasting the effort, but just doing the work.
The results become obvious. People might not have seen the struggle, but they'll see the outcome. It's that whole show, don't tell idea, really. Your actions speak volumes.
And importantly, the return isn't about fishing for compliments or validation.
No, it's about re-engaging as someone who's more empowered, more authentic. Your strength comes from inside now.
That inner transformation, that sort of personal glow up.
Yeah, a glow up that's so deep, it doesn't really depend on whether anyone else notices or praises it. It just is. It sustains itself.
And bringing it back to language learning, instead of always saying, I'm working on my English, imagine just showing up one day and surprising people.
Right. With newfound fluency, confidence in how you communicate. You are the proof of the work, rather than just talking about the plan.
Okay, so wrapping this up. The main takeaway seems to be that real deep growth often happens in those quiet times, away from the noise, away from needing approval. Those periods where you intentionally step back, they can actually be the moments that spark your biggest breakthroughs.
So if you're in that phase right now, disappearing a bit, resetting, rebuilding, trust that process.
Yeah, trust it. It might feel lonely sometimes, but know that the quiet work you're putting in now, it's shaping a stronger, more capable, more you version of yourself for the future.
And maybe the most exciting thought to leave with is this.
Go on.
The transformation that's happening in your silence right now, the evolution you're going through privately.
Yeah.
It's creating a version of you the world hasn't actually met yet.
That's a powerful thought to carry forward.